guitar pedals, particularly overdrive and distortion. There are a bunch of guitar pedals, but these are the most common. Distortion of any kind is just the altering of a sound. If you change it, it's distortion, technically. But usually, when we're talking about distortion, it's hard clipping. But similarly, overdrive uses soft clipping, and it's a less pronounced effect. Now, overdrive is very commonly used. Almost everyone uses overdrive. Some of the first people to use it were the Beatles and Chuck Berry back in the 60s and the 50s. But basically, overdrive is soft clipping of the waveform. It smooths out the peaks of the voltage using the typical circuit right there on the slide. Usually it uses an op amp with a resistor and some diodes in parallel. And what it does is, as the voltage peaks on either side of the waveform, basically it doesn't let some of those signals through in the peaks, and so it ends up smoothing out the curve. And the more soft clipping you do, the closer the waveform gets to a square wave. It's a bluesy rock and roll type sound. Punk rock uses it too. This is what it sounds like. So that was The Distance by Cake. They use it, obviously, but that's what it sounds like. Distortion pedals, on the other hand, are a much more harsh effect. Usually it's adding higher order harmonics to the wave to really square off the peaks. While overdrive adds lower order harmonics, distortion adds lower and higher order harmonics, and it adds a lot more harmonies, which also means that a lot of chords sound really bad, and so you have to use power chords, which use less notes. But a lot more heavy metal artists use this. So particularly, Mick Gordon, Architects, Metallica. Those are some great bands, would recommend. But yeah, so it's way more similar to a square wave in the waveform, and a lot of times the base circuit is just a resistor with some diodes, and this makes so that it's much less smooth. It's just a hard cutoff. When voltage reaches a certain point, doesn't let it through. Alternatively, you could use an op amp with voltage rails, and when the voltage reaches above a certain point, it just doesn't work anymore. But usually it'll at least have an op amp before the diodes, even if it's distortion, just to adjust the gain on the effect. And so this is what it sounds like. Something like that. Very heavy, very bassy. And my guitar is tuned a whole step down, so that adds to the metal sound, but that's what it sounds like. That's Doom's Gate by Mick Gordon. But yeah, that's what distortion sounds like. That's what the waveform looks like, and that's a typical circuit. Though, of course, there are many other components that they usually use to adjust the minute details of the tone. But yeah,